There's like 1,000 mixer things. Yeah. But like what I appreciated though was that the council apparently went off and was just like, no, they thought about it for a little bit.
Oh right, they're like, well, you stay there, Rogolsar. Let's talk about it for a second.
Yeah, like, hang on. Let's just... look, he brought it to us. Even if we know we're not going to do what he said, we'll at least pretend like we're talking about it over here.
Right, exactly.
So, at the end of the day, they're just like, nah, we're not doing that.
No. And then he's like, oh, I've got a problem now. And it's like, yeah, they're setting up what Rogel's... Like, we don't get the payoff. We're setting... Like, it's like every issue of Man of Steel is going to be a little like... I don't know, peek into Rogolzar's plan.
Yeah, I guess so. And, like, you know, I guess what this is indicating is that, like, whatever ends up happening to Krypton is, like...
Is in some way related to
his fault, but there's, like, part of me... I know this character now for really 1.25 issues, even that.
Yeah.
Wants to see it where he just really thinks that it was his fault.
Right, that'd
like,
be nice.
He's just like, I did this, and they're like, no.
Krypton has a lot of coincidences around it already. I would really like hate for Rogolzar to be tied into it at all. But but if it has to be, I'd love for it to be that he wanted to see Krypton destroyed, and by accident it happened to be.
Yeah.
And he like blames himself for it or thanks himself for it.
He's just like.
And then it turns out, like, no, he had nothing to do with it. It was a total accident, and it was a complete... And he's like, well, because either way, he wins. And I don't want the villain to win in any way. And especially not this lame one.
Right.
So, yeah, well, but there's a lot more that happens in Man of Steel that isn't just Rogolzar.
No, but that is a big part of it.
But he's a big part, because, you know, he's he's one of the 5 brand new characters that Bendis has introduced in only 2 issues, 1.5 issues.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of character introductions.
That's how Bendis gets the Benjamins, by the way. You got to create a new character if you want to like see money and you want to see those revenue streams. Right. You know, so you got to diversify, really. We
also get a like quick little like check-in with Killer Moth and Firefly, which is just like, what are you two doing here?
You're not supposed to be here. You're Gotham villains, but nobody wants to use you, or maybe Bendis thought it'd be hilarious to use them. Maybe they'll be his Kite Man.
Well, but so I do wonder if they're gonna come back, or if this is just a fun interlude to get him to the burning building, or you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I bet they come back in a Shocker Ultimate Spider-Man-esque way, where like every so often Superman has to bust them or one of them, and it's like, you guys again? I can't believe this.
Because it's difficult sometimes to tell with Bendis if he's doing it just because
it's fun.
Or I was going to say even just to prove that he knows...
Yeah, who these characters are?
Right? Like, he's just like, no, I'm on DC now, so I get it. I know who these characters are, and I'm going to utilize that.
Right, exactly.
And it's just like, you know, just like trying to give himself some brownie points, basically.
Yes, exactly. I got some street cred over the DCU.
Yeah. Or if it's something where he's just like, no, just wait and see what's going to happen with them.
Yeah. And I don't know. I never, you know what, I didn't give it a moment's thought as to what it meant for them to be in the book.
You know, they were so specific...
Yeah, that it's like there's no way that they won't do that, and you're pretty good at spotting Bendisisms, so you know I would put money on those characters coming back.
Never put money on me. Just don't do that. We do this really nice moment with Superman though that I really enjoyed.
Oh yeah, the insight into how he listens and like that, and that he hears like music and like, but not music like from someone's radio, like some up and coming aspiring musician like just trying something out, and he's like, oh, I really like that, and I didn't mean, and I'm sorry that I eavesdropped on you, but I really, you know, I'm listening to Screaming and I heard this nice thing. And, you know, like that's nice that like Superman has kind of like a godlike interest in like the mundane of Metropolis.
Exactly, but we also get to see that he's not perfect. He couldn't remember the song, so
right,
you know.
Yeah, that's weird.
No, it's not weird.
It's fine. It was very Bendis.
I'm trying to imagine him later on singing it to John to be like,
do you know the song? Da 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 da. John's like, holy crap. Thankfully, I won't have to worry about that. But we'll talk about why in a minute.
And then from there we go off to the burning building, which is I liked it. That's fun because it's very like Superman. It's very like, heroic. He goes in the burning building. There's the kid with the puppies and the
puppies, child, burning building, firefighters, hot chicks. It works.
Yeah. This intrigue and like potentially commonplace sort of like street crime, but that could be greater in the fact that there have been other buildings that have caught fire in Metropolis lately within a short span of time. Where it's like, is this arson? Is this something more? I don't know.
Exactly.
So like. Part of me enjoys that Bendis is creating this like potentially like smaller mystery along with this like larger Rogolzar
Right, exactly. Yeah.
That...
Well, he's got the A plot and the B plot. The A plot's the Roel Gazar stuff. The B plot is the like real thing you care about.
Right, or maybe it isn't, because as we saw in DC Nation with the reporter, who I cannot remember her name.
Nope.
For the life of me, that she might be the B plot.
Right. Yeah,
because she's desire to take over the planet.
Yeah, not the planet. But...
No, the Daily Planet.
Unless it turns out she's like Roel Gazar's mistress and she wants to take over.
Maybe
Earth.
That's what it is. Maybe that's what Bendis is doing. Not that. The idea that it's like someone wants to take over the planet. The Daily Planet.
The Daily Planet, that is. Lol, get it? But yeah, no, I get it and it works. It's very Bendis Superman for me. He's got, like, it's funny, actually. This is definitely handled with reverence, almost like too unfamiliarly. Like, Superman is very, like, at a distance. We see his insight into people, but we don't see, I don't know, he's very Superman, with a lot of pomp and circumstance, which is like nice, I guess. But we'll see what happens. I don't know. You have to draw parallels between like the other introductions to Superman and the other Man of Steel books, and like for me, Man of Steel #1, the miniseries from like John Byrne, is very like, let's look at Superman as and his through the lens of everybody that meets him and knows him, and so like some characters know him so well that he's not Superman, he's just a guy.
Yeah.
And so let's get into that, but we barely even get an inkling that Superman finds the firefighter Melody something.
Yeah.
Super hot, like we're supposed to, but like
Melody Moore, thank you.
but the idea that Superman finds her attractive, like we know it's there, but it's also kind of like superficial. Like Superman's like, I love everybody. I think everyone's hot, or whatever.
Right, and I enjoyed her. I enjoyed the fact that she wanted to know if she was taller than Wonder Woman.
Yeah, that was cute. It was a cute little, like, that was very Bendis.
Very Bendis, absolutely, you're right. I also enjoyed, prior to that scene, him, like, trying to be like Batman in a sense. Like, he's in the husk of the burnt building, like... They're like, talking about, like, it could be faulty wires or something. And he's, like, investigating using his X-ray vision. Trying to put it... It's, like, almost like he doesn't know what he's looking for, though.
I mean, I think that's the joke.
Yeah.
Or at least it should be. Like, that he's like, let me find out. I don't know anything about forensics or...
or, like, I'm not an
wiring.
electrician.
Yeah. That said, the visualization of his X-ray vision I'd never seen before, and I liked that. I've seen him use his X-ray vision before. That's not that. It's more that I'd never seen how they presented his X-ray vision in that way before, and I really liked it.
Yeah, like the visual of it.
Yeah, they didn't make a big show of it. It's one panel.
No,
it's just really nice.
It's just there, and it's like, hey, if you caught it, you caught it.
Exactly.
Back at the planet, Perry's still, like, beating everybody down for, like, the big stories, because without Lois there, you're not getting those big intrigue stories, seemingly.
The seedy underbelly of Metropolis.
Yeah, so, like, even though you have this, like, story about potential arson, it's not enough for Perry. And, like, I like the visual cue of seeing the huge image of Lois that's, like, signed by her on the wall.
Yeah.
And then we get a little bit of, like, the home life now, which she's still there, and so...
No, that's a flashback.
That's a flashback?
Yeah.
I thought that was...
he's alone. Like, he's alone at the desk, and then he, like, thinks back to this other mystery. We got 3 mysteries.
That kind of threw me off, because when we had the other flashbacks, they put then.
Yeah, but this is then, too.
Well, they should have put then.
Well, they didn't.
But this is now.
Yeah.
And when will then be now?
Soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, we get a flashback into, like, whether... Because... everybody was like, why is Lois not there? Why hasn't they addressed the fact that Superman has a son? Like, he's there since 2016. There's not been any reference. Like, Superman has never done anything or gone anywhere without at least thinking about or talking about his son.
Right.
Except this issue.
Yeah.
And then we get a little, like, insight.
Kind of, yeah.
Into, like, what we were expecting to see, which is Superman at home in the apartment that they just moved into with Lois and John, and they're married and have this kid. And where were we from there?
Well, I think before we go on from there, we should say thank you so much to John D for a super chat. It's his fave YouTube channel.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you. Oh, Joe? Did I say John?
You did indeed.
I got John on the brain.
I know, because it's John Kent.
Yeah. I just equated you.
You're in good company, man.
Yeah, dude, I just equated you to Jonathan Kent, so. But it's Joe, so I apologize.
Thank you, Joe.
And then from there, we see essentially this huge, like, flash of light that, like...
Pardon me.
He's live!
Woohoo!
We see this huge flash of light that envelops, like, all 3 of the Kents.
Yeah.
And just... we don't know what happens. It's just like, next time.
But we do know that it happened before this main story.
Yeah.
Where Superman is chatting up hot firefighters and stuff.
Yeah.
So, Who knows? Could be that maybe Dr. Manhattan picked him up. Maybe Superman went back in time and undid his marriage. Maybe Mephisto showed up and undid everything. Who knows?
Yeah, Bendis is like, I reserve the right to use Marvel's Mephisto in DC.
Yeah. Well, we do know that when, what's his name? Joe Quesada used to work for DC, they were trying to unmarry Superman back then. Oh. And in fact, they were thinking, remember Mephisto, or not Mephisto, Mephisto is what?
Mephisto's daughter. Yeah.
Remember reading in Good, Bad, and Ugly the vampire Superman book?
Yes.
With that female demon person? Yes. They wanted her to undo the Superman marriage. And then Quesada stole that idea and brought it to Marvel and made Mephisto do it.
Cool.
So maybe we're finally seeing the actualization of the Superman marriage getting undone.
Man.
Wouldn't that suck?
Yes.
It's almost like no one's paying attention to what people want.
That sucks.
It's weird.
That really sucks.
I hope not.
Yeah.
But who knows? All we do know is there's a flash of light,
yeah,
and Superman's marriage and son are supposedly removed. We don't know if they're
We don't know that.
We don't know. Hey, listen, I'm just asking questions. I'm not saying that editorial is just letting Bendis do whatever he wants. What Bendis wants to do is have Superman chat up hot chicks. All I'm saying is that's what it looks like.
I mean, it could, playing devil's advocate here, it could be him.
Devil?
It could be him trying to lead you to that conclusion. Where he's just like, why would you think that of Superman?
Right, exactly.
Why would you doubt him?
Yeah, and then and it looks like it's sad, and then he opens the door. We finally go to Clark's apartment, and they're like, "Hey, Dad!" And you're like, "Yay, worked out."
Yeah.
I don't know. I hope that's what it is.
Right.
But that would be very weird.
It would be.
It's very weird to create drama where there isn't any, and where there's only been fanfare. Like, people have only been celebrating and excited about the status quo for Superman, in particular, the creators who are working on them.
Right.
And it's very weird. I'm not used to this ring yet. But it's very weird to create that. Although I did read an interview with Bendis recently where he said something like, I want you to be nervous about my run. I want you to always be questioning whether or not I might fuck up everything you like. And I'm like,
great. That's like, that's how I want to feel when I'm reading a book.
That's straight up. That is old school. That is Marvel, Joe Quesada, Bill Jemas, Brian Michael Bendis. Like, that is how it was. I remember when they were working on Civil War, they were talking about how much all the other editors, who of course don't work there anymore because Marvel only has like 2 editors, all the editors and the writers and the workers at Marvel were like, Iron Man wouldn't do this, Captain America would never do that, the Punisher would never do this, the Superhuman, they actually did Superhuman Registration, and Mr. Fantastic undid it in like the 90s.
Okay.
So like, you can't do that, this, and that. And they're like, no, but they'll be so mad. They'll be so mad, though, they'll have to buy it. And that was the whole approach to creating Civil War. And I know that Bendis was probably in the editorial mindset back when he was leaving Marvel, because I bet he was like, I want this pay raise and I want to be editor-in-chief. And they were like, no. And he's like, okay, bye. But he had this like all these ideas and these plans and,
right,
these holdovers from when he had the editor-in-chief of Marvel Comics' ear. And he was influencing things like the movies and all of the books, the entire universe, by writing like 4 of the biggest events over the last like 10 years. So yeah, I could definitely see him being like, yeah, and I'm going to do that too, because those guys that I like idolized or worked with had those ideas too, and they were really good.
Here's the thing. If he wanted to like upset the apple cart and do something that's like totally like changing for Superman, bring back the Kents.
Right. Bring back his parents.
Yeah. At least Ma.
Yeah. At the very only Ma.
At the very least, bring back Ma Kent. Throw that into the...
Right? I don't know. Weird.
Yeah.
It's weird. It's a mixed bag for me. It looked really good. Ivan Reis is one of the top artists at DC good. Right now. He's a quintessential Superman artist. I think he did a nice job.
There were moments where I was like, this looks really good, and there were moments where I was like, meh.
Yeah. No, that's true.
Meh.
Well, that's because it's talky. The other thing that was very much a hallmark or a... calling card of a Bendis book was that there were a lot of like really beautiful pages that had like 1,000 word balloons all over.
I know. Nobody could. Apparently, people don't edit Bendis's.
I'm sure words. He's like Grant Morrison. Nobody edits his Bendis. Anyway, so do you recommend Man of Steel #1? Can you recommend it?
It's like, it's funny because I want to say yes, but at the same time, like, part of me feels like you don't even need it if you want to just jump into 2, and I feel like there might be more going on in 2. Mm-hmm. If they give you a decent enough summary page, I think it'll be fine.
Yeah, I agree.
So, unless you really, really are into Bendis...
Yeah, if you're saving money and you're, like, cherry-picking your books, you could definitely skip this.
I'd skip this issue, but I think issue 2 will probably feel more like a first issue.
I
potentially,
agree.
Or like almost like the combination of issue 1 and 2 will be like a complete sort of like opener.
Yeah. We were arguing about graphic design the other day, and I'm going to toss out my my stylistic choice. I want to bandy against yours. What do you think of the typeface for the Man of Steel logo font? I think it's terrible.
Not a fan.
I don't even know what it's trying to be.
It almost looks a little bit like the Terminator font.
Yeah,
in like a weird way. I'm not a huge fan of it. It's kind of clunky.
Yeah.
And like
I know it's a miniseries, so it's going to go away.
Yeah.
But it looks really obtrusive and out of place.
Well, it's interesting because like the Man of in the size that it's in is too large to be doing what it's doing.
Right.
So like it's like jockeying for like where you're trying to look. So it's either you need to make them the same and make it all important,
which wouldn't
or you
work.
need to make it a little smaller to make it less important.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't care for it.
Not a fan.
I think it looks really weird. It looks like they came up with it first.
Yeah.
And they just slapped it on everything they
They're
can.
just like, who cares?
Yeah. Who cares? They're going to buy it anyway. Morons. That's how it feels.
We did.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, I read it.
That's my job.
All right. What's next?
What's next? No Justice number 4.
Yeah, let's do it.
Tiffany did a great video that sums up No Justice numbers 1, 2, 3. Who knows if we'll ever see it, but it is.
I did do it.
It is shot, cut, and uploaded. It's just not on our channel.
You say great. It did not feel great going into it.
I liked it. It's just Tiffany just telling you what happens for 3 issues.
For 3
it's really
of
fun.
the issues.
But yeah, no. So No Justice number 4, the last the ultimate issue, the final issue of No Justice.
Yes.
Transitioning right into Justice League, which literally is coming out next week.
Dark and Justice League Odyssey. So like we're getting 3 Justice League books, which is definitely hinted at the end, and not even hinted.
No, the book's a brochure.
Here's the teams. All right, you pick what you like and just get over it.
Yeah. We hope you buy them all.
Right. The end of this book is like very much like, I don't want to say hand wavy because it's not really hand wavy, but it is so like superhero convenient almost in a sense where like it kind of makes sense, but if you start pulling on threads it's like right? Like, all right, so are you up to date?
Oh yeah, no, I read it.
Awesome.
No Justice, by the way, is I think Francis Manapul still did the art for this one.
I can't remember because they kept changing it around. Let me take a look here.
It might be on the last page.
It might be on the last page, which like is good and bad all at the same time because then you just jump into the book, but then when I'm trying to figure out who yep, there it is. Yeah, he did this one. Okay. And he did 1.
Yes.
And then like he couldn't do 2 and 3 entirely on his own.
No.
And 3 was Anyway,
but it's written by Snyder,
Tynion IV, and Joshua Williamson. So we got 3 writers on this, which I have said before, I think this was very successful in combining 3 separate voices into one book.
Yes, it did. It felt cohesive.
Like, I keep having to remind myself that there are 3 writers on this book.
Yeah.
I've seen this, like, done before where you've got, like, multiple writers on a book, and it's very obvious where one writer stopped and the next writer took over.
Yeah, well, it's much, like, sometimes it's collaborative where they come up with the story and they all write it, and sometimes they just go, like, okay, you write pages 1 through 7, and I'll write the next one, and we just split up the work.
Yeah.
Which is not writing together.
Right.
But yeah, these guys do. Like, they blended well together, and it tells a nice story.
Yep.
Or at least they tell their story competently.
Yes. So, this book opens with, like, hey, remember at the start of this book, at this whole, like, run in, like, issue 1?
Yes.
The Lantern Corps was at the source wall because there was a huge hole busted in it?
That was the big setup. Like, look at the entire Lantern Corps standing in front of the source wall just spilling out.
And then we just left them. We're like, bye!
Well, that'll probably work itself out.
That'll be fine. We do check in with them, and, like, basically all the lanterns are, like, using their powers to construct, like...
What even are they making?
It's almost like... It almost looks like a circuit, but I don't think it's what it is. It's probably more like a suture trying to pull
I was hoping it was a suture, but it didn't feel like
together.
A suture, yeah.
I think they're just not quite strong enough to be able to pull it together. I think that the best that they're doing is preventing it from opening further right now.
Right.
And that's about the time that Hal gets a call from Green Arrow, because at the end of issue 3, Green Arrow, like,
sends out a
signal being like, hey, we're screwed!
All the Omega Titans are here and they're gonna eat Earth!
And, like, there are no superheroes here except for me and Supergirl.
Right.
And I'm like...
And Batgirl.
Yeah, and Batgirl. And only one of us is truly super.
Yeah, and she's not gonna punch any of them.
So, come on home.
Right?
And we do see all 4 of the Omega Titans are at Earth, and the Seed has, like, sprouted, and all 4 trees have like grown up out of the earth.
Which
and,
is going to be a thing forever now.
Yeah, they're just there now.
We just have trees in the
Spoilers?
DC universe.
I'm going to spoil it anyway.
No,
but
it's over,
Waller's really mad at Green Arrow for
mm-hmm.
being like, hey, I if we like destroyed this now, we would have been fine.
Right.
To be fair, you don't know that.
No.
Waller, you've no idea what would have happened if you tried to hit that with anything.
No, it's funny. Waller's a tough character to write for effectively because without her looking like just a dumbass.
Right. Well, it's like she walks this fine line, and I don't even know if she walks it competently most of the time.
Right.
Between like stupidly, aggressively, I'm correct,
yes.
and like just being like, I have such faith in myself that I make good choices.
Right. Exactly.
Like it. And in this, it could just be that. She's just like, no, that was our best call.
Right,
because
exactly.
to be fair, like, in her mind, she's like, they're screwed no matter what.
Yeah.
But you do have a seed thing that's like a cosmic seed that was tampered by Brainiac, and you think whatever you hit it with is going to stop it?
Yeah, like, the idea that you even think the nuclear option is even, like, it's just a joke.
I don't get it.
It's weird that she was so insistent on such a, like, failed plan that has never worked.
Right?
But in any case, she does, like, but she insists on, pushing that agenda.
Yeah.
So.
And basically, they're going to trudge on back to Belle Reve because she's like, we need to get some bigger weapons. And Green Arrow's like, really?
Like, yeah, that's your plan?
That's the plan? Well, you know what? I'm cold, so I'm going with you.
Mm-hmm.
But we check in on the rest of the Leaguers.
Yep.
In the wreckage of Kalu.
Mm-hmm.
It's very much like Alderaan. And they're in, like, Brainiac's ship. They're just kind of floating. The ship's totally, like, broken.
Well, yeah, it's busted.
Broken. It's not gonna work.
Mm-hmm.
And they're all just kind of coming down from it. And a lot of a lot of individual Leaguers are having a hard time dealing with what they saw.
Yeah.
Like Raven herself was able to hear like the last screams
of Starro.
So like she's gonna carry that with her forever.
Yeah, that's weird.
And like Starfire's big thing is just like, no, see, like Flash said it's gonna be okay. Also, we saved Tamaran.
Yeah, my people are saved. So like it's not all bad. You're gonna break a few eggs.
It's cool.
And you're like,
just get over yourself.
Okay, Starfire.
You're good.
Yeah.
And Robin has a great little moment where he's just trying to
he's just a fucking pain in the ass.
He's trying to like tell his dad what to do, and like that's not going well.
No, and then and that's the only line, by the way, we get. There's gonna be a new status quo for Robin and Batman now as a result of this book. Which, like, I didn't see in any of the other books.
I guess so.
But because Snyder and Tynion, Tynion's writing detective, like, King's going to do what King's going to do, so it doesn't matter what he thinks. But, like, everybody else is doing this thing where at the end of the book, we set up that, like, Batman and Robin are kind of on the outs, and you're like, really?
Yeah.
We're doing that? We're doing that again? All right.
And then we see Brainiac 2.0, like...
Yeah, he's a complete new bad guy.
Yeah, like, he went from being, like, just, like... There's nothing you can do. Like, my father is like, you can't beat him.
Right,
basically.
you can't. Yeah, you can't beat him. So we're all screwed.
Yeah, like a nihilist. He's just like, who cares?
And their planet gets destroyed, and he's like, I can't believe that you destroyed Brainiac and you destroyed my planet. I hate you guys now. I'm going to destroy you. And
yeah,
like,
he basically decides to follow the path of Brainiac.
And you're like, what the hell does this come from?
Right? I guess he thought that Brainiac's plan would succeed and therefore save Kalu, even though like they hate him. He's like, but they're still my people.
Yeah, and even though he also it was a foregone conclusion for him that it was going to be destroyed.
Right. No, I think initially he thought that it was not going to be destroyed.
Oh,
and
that like Brainiac was like, that his plan was going to work?
That his plan was going to work and the Titans would go to wherever, and the Leaguers kind of busted that up. So now he's just like, you know what? Instead of me helping you, which is what you'd like,
right?
What I'm going to do is I'm going to finish what I'm working on over here, and I'm going to zip on over to Earth. I'm going to make sure that your planet is destroyed too, and I figure that makes us even.
Right.
My planet, you're for your planet. It's cool.
Because I need to be the new great villain.
Now I'm Brainiac.
But like
2.0.
like an organic one.
Yeah. So have fun with that one.
By the way, Wookie Drew jumps in and says, "You guys rock. Thanks for all the great shows." Thank you, Wookie Drew.
I appreciate that. So we'll deal with Brainiac at some point, but he does arrive on Earth, and he starts like putting these like machine things.
He also leaves them stranded. He doesn't fix the ship.
Oh no, he doesn't do anything to help them.
Then he teleports to Earth.
And he puts these things onto the trees, which essentially starts making them like hyper grow. So they're growing at a faster rate than the ones that were on Kalu.
Which makes the Omega Titans get there faster. And
they're there, but they're getting ready.
They're getting ready to eat the planet right now.
They're getting prepped.
Yeah.
He also like takes out Supergirl, so she's out of the picture. So
yes.
she can't even like. Our last like
image of Supergirl is her flying around and then getting blasted.
Yeah. Then we check in over at Belle Reve where Waller and Arrow have arrived, and Waller's like, hey, listen, I need to have access to nuclear arms because like that's the only thing that's going to fix this.
Which it won't, but yeah, fine.
Right, but like again, in her mind, she's just like,
well, these are the only options available.
We have no heroes,
right? And
I hate them anyway. And there are like 4 giant guys up in the sky who are going to eat us. So either we could sit here and just hold hands and sing a song, or...
which is hilarious. Like that's definitely a reference to Metal. Where she says they're going to hug each other, a big super hug. I'm like, whoa. So Snyder wrote his own book, so he's like, I'm making a little joke about the silly ass ending to my big story.
Or we could try to do something. So her plan is that, and instead, Brainiac 2.0 shows up, and it's just like, you know what, Waller? It makes sense that you would be the guy who stole, or you'd be the person who stole like all my father's knowledge.
Yes.
Because Brainiac 2.0 is not only there to get the Earth destroyed, but he also wants to have
all of Brainiac. He wants to become like
he's like, I was going to get it all back. So he goes like to Waller, and he decides he's going to shoot her. And like, I'm pretty sure Green Arrow's kind of like, yeah, maybe I'll just.
Well, I'll just be really slow.
Yeah. Oh, what's that over there?
Yeah.
But no, the Lantern, part of the Lantern Corps shows up. All
your favorite Green Lanterns
all
show
over
up.
There, especially mine when Jon Stewart's there. But yeah, so they all show up, and they're like, okay, we pretty much left everyone else out there to deal with it,
which is amazing because like it's pretty much established that some of these are the strongest Green Lanterns of all time with the strongest wills. But we're just gonna leave to literally punch Brainiac,
and they do like Hal makes a giant fist construct and just
punches
him right in the face,
and you're like, that's funny.
Yeah, I enjoyed
that was fun. That was a nice little moment,
right? And then back on the ship, the Brainiac ship, we realize that like the ship's not going to work. They ask Cyborg, like, can you fix it? He's like, no, I'm barely keeping it together so we don't explode.
Yeah.
And they start talking about having to think differently and how, like, at the end of the day, like, we need to think bigger than what we are. And that's when they realize that Cyborg can utilize the ship fluctuations, the energy fluctuations, to power his mother box to get the heroes there.
Well, to get at least one of the teams. I think it's Team Entropy to Earth right now.
Entropy shows up, which includes Batman, Deathstroke, Lex Luthor, Beast Boy, and Lobo.
Yes.
Which is just like how did you pick that team?
Yeah, which is like Team Cool.
Yeah, it is Team Cool. It is.
So they show up, and Grant Arrow's like, oh, I was kind of hoping Superman was going to be here.
But Superman's team has like Starfire and Sinestro on it.
Yeah.
I mean, they all are there, though, inevitably.
Mm-hmm. Like, they do all wind up there.
Like, they're all just, I think, at different locations. I think they all went to their trees.
I think you're right, yeah.
Because, like, they go to the Entropy,
that's right,
which is where Belle Reeve is.
Yeah.
And the plan is, like, okay, we got to get these things off of the tree.
Yep.
And we got to try to equalize all the energy.
Yeah.
And they're like, because that's what we were supposed to do on the other place. And then, like, someone's like, but, excuse me.
That didn't work.
I don't know if you realize what happened at Kalu, but that kind of blew up in our face.
Exactly.
Literally.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, but even though this is further along, we missed a crucial step.
Right.
And we need to figure out what that is. So, Cyborg, you're going to have to go get Brainiac's information. You're going to have to do exactly what Brainiac 2.0 wanted.
Yep.
You're going to go get it instead. So, Waller...
Yeah, give us the info.
Let him in.
Give us whatever you killed Brainiac and ruined our plan.
So she tells, like, Task Force 11 to let him have access.
Yes.
And, like, so he has access to everything Brainiac, which is kind of scary and cool for Cyborg. Like, what a neat way for that to go. And I wonder if something will happen with that later.
Yeah, I think
Because it's kind of hard to have access to Brainiac without
Brainiac himself, like, showing up.
Yeah, or, like, finding out something you shouldn't know.
Right.
Which is kind of cool.
Yeah, that'll be a great new status quo for Cyborg.
Right? So Cyborg realizes that the trees bloom a fruit, and within that fruit there's a seed, and that's like the new seed.
Yes.
But it's that seed that like entices
the Omega Titan.
One of the Omega Titan to eat the planet because it's there. And so their plan is we have to get these machines off the trees, and then we have to basically equalize them, and then one of the trees will bear fruit. Right. And it's the tree of entropy that bears fruit. Mm-hmm. And we take that
because
seed.
Earth has a lot of entropy.
Yes.
Because we're the worst.
Yeah, we suck. And we need to take that seed, and as his Cyborg puts it, we have to take it to each of the quarterbacks of the team because he puts it all into football terms.
He does, which is cute, and it works.
It totally fits with his character.
Yeah, exactly.
And each of the quarterbacks have to then power the seed. Each of the people who kind of like represent like
their own their
their
thing.
Yeah. So initially they think like no, actually, maybe it isn't the entropy tree that
I thought it was
grows it.
Yeah,
it might be Wonder.
That's right, because Wonder Woman plays a crucial role early, like later on. No, because Luthor needs to fire it up with his entropy.
He does that last. He's the last one. So one of the trees bears fruit. That's all that matters.
By the way, 2 mics, 1 take saying, nice to see off the rack back in a big bad way. Thank you very much, 2 mics, 1 take. Yeah.
It is entropy. I don't know why they don't let him power it up first.
I know, that's weird.
They just take it away. Flash runs it off to Wonder Team, where Wonder Woman takes the seed and powers it up, even though she's like, I don't know why.
Right, I don't know why DC's shoehorning me into this whole magical thing, but I guess I'll just go with it.
I'm okay with it. I'm totally down with it.
I'm just saying, it's like...
And, like, it's really funny because Raven's like, it doesn't matter, just do it.
Right, yeah.
Just stop questioning things.
All right, fine, jeez.
Just take it. And so then they take it off, and I think Martian Manhunter does it for Mystery.
Yes.
And then they take it to Deathstroke, and they think that's going to work for Entropy. Mm-hmm. And that it doesn't work at all.
Nope.
And so Luther's like, just
give it to me, I got this. And like Deathstroke's
I
like,
suck the most.
But you're a good guy now. And he's like, quiet, I'm not. We're setting it up so that I can be what I am in Doomsday Clock.
Yeah, I guess, and I think Cyborg's actually the first person to power it up.
Yeah.
So now it's all powered, and the idea is it's like, okay, cool. It has all 4 energies. Mm-hmm. So here's what we're going to do. Now we're going to take it, and we're going to shoot it into the Entropy Titan.
Yes.
We're going to target him.
Right. And then
because
all the other...
Because he's the scariest one? Mm-hmm. I don't know. He's scary.
Yeah, and
he's
the energy that he produces will be so enticing to the Omega Titans that they will eat him.
Well, it'll be in him.
Yes, and they'll consume him, and then they'll have enough energy from his consumption that they'll, like, leave Earth alone for a while.
Yeah. Pretty much. And so Hal Jordan gets it, and he makes a contract of a gun, and he's going to shoot it into space. Yeah. And, like, Green Arrow's like,
how about I fire this?
You're, like, the worst shot ever. Just let me do it.
Yeah.
And so they build, like, this huge, like, almost like, it's like such a crossbow, it's almost like a trebuchet kind
That's
of thing.
exactly what it is.
And so they shoot it up, and it lands in the Entropy Titan, and they say in that moment that the other Titans are afraid of what we've just done. Mm-hmm. Because, like, yet again, we're breaking the universe.
Yes.
And, like, in this sense, I really enjoyed where this was going, because it's clear that Snyder has like an end game in mind. Where it's
I
just
sure
like,
hope so. Yeah, we are.
We as humanity have a real issue with breaking the universe, and like I assume
which
something
is more
has to
of
be
a
done.
Marvel problem, but all right, DC, we're gonna
right.
do that.
But we are also in the midst of Doomsday Clock, so I'm wondering if this could all be
like actually like sync up with it.
Yeah,
that'd be nuts.
It would be nuts. I don't know. I like to think about what ifs.
That'd be cool. Yeah, but yeah, it sets up this whole idea that like. That like the natural order has been disrupted, and yet again it's Earth at the core of it, and yet again like we did it to save ourselves and in the name of justice, and what does that mean for us in the future? Right, and
in the end, yes,
because Galactus can't eat planets anymore, so now the natural order of things is disrupted.
Well,
it's like
well, it's supposed to be really that like the Titans are meant to bring an end to things naturally,
right?
And it's just like, but we're not letting you go. We're not going to let you do that.
But no, we're not going to. No. And like, I find that frustrating because like because Earth is where all my stuff is, and it's where I read my books, and it's where my books take place. And for me to be like, I believe in the natural order of things and the cosmic like balance, and then have it be like, well, but just say having all your favorite characters and the place you live being destroyed. Like if you pretend that like or keep that from happening, then like you're part of the problem. Like, no, I'm reading these books because they take place in this like place. Like,
it's also like it's interesting because it's like there's a certain like I don't want to say irony to it, but like the fact is like the reason the Source Wall was broken in the first place was like was that of the natural order, or did things come together to make that happen?
Right.
In a way? And then like the reason that the Titans were brought to Earth so quickly
was because
that was manufactured by Brainiac.
Yeah, but at the same time, like the Green Lantern Corps is pissed at the Justice League for like not letting the dark multiverse screw everything up.
Well, I mean, they just should have stopped holding hands earlier because that was the problem. They just went too far.
Right.
They went too far.
Yeah, like they knew.
Punch. Just went too far.
That hole in the Source Wall is such an annoying thing for me.
Let's just finish this book up real quick. The book finishes up basically where we see Manhunter and like Luther having like a mind conversation.
Yes, where Luther's like, I'm going to be a bad guy again, bye.
Well, he's just like, he's got to leave.
Yeah.
And who knows what he's going to do, but he's going to go. And then we see that the Source Wall is still being held together. It's really interesting because it almost looks like a power battery.
Yeah,
and I'm like, maybe one day one of the lanterns will like tap that to do something.
Yeah.
I don't know. That'd be cool.
Or create a new core, and it's
the Source Core.
The Source Core. We called it, by the way, if that happens.
We see Batman thinking that he needs another new team to keep an eye on them.
We just did this!
Right, and we see Black Lightning there, and he wants to make sure that...
It's creating the outsiders.
Yeah, that they're covered from the outside.
Oh.
So, like, he can't rely on Robin or Nightwing for this. He's got to do that. The League's, obviously forming.
Yep, they're creating a Hall of Justice.
Yeah, out of like the Brainiac
head,
which is like really funny because it looks like the Legion of Doom.
Yep.
And in a almost Tower of Babel kind of way, they give Green Arrow a like book or
whatever.
Box.
Yeah, they give him a thing that'll destroy the Justice League.
Yeah, that it could take it down.
Yeah.
So like they entrust it with him, and he's just like, I don't want this.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, couldn't I just be on the League
instead
of having this? All right.
It'd be cooler if you were on the team. But let's make it so that one day you'll be like the linchpin of another stupid event we do.
Right, it'll be fine. And they're going to open everything up to the public, and they're going to make it very, like, just open.
Yeah,
like the League is
the Flash Museum.
Right, but I think it's also, like, in the sense where it's just, like, Waller had such an issue with the trust of superheroes, we're not going to let that happen again.
Yes.
It's totally going to happen again.
It's the end of Justice League Unlimited.
Yeah.
At the end of Justice League, they take out the tower, they go on Earth, they build a base there, they let people in, it's a whole thing.
Right? And then we see, like, a little hint at, like, the fact that Diana, or Wonder Woman's going to be on Justice League Dark, where she's going to be investigating, like, what's in the dark and a little more magic stuff, which I'm totally down for, so I'm definitely going to be checking that out.
Totally.
They elect a new chairman of the Justice League. Of course, it's Jean.
Yep.
Good for him. He's back, which is, I'm super excited about that. We see, like, a very classic Justice League.
Yes.
At least cartoon show.
We see Justice League Unlimited. I mean, like, Hawkgirl's there, and she's just inexplicably in her cartoon costume, and she's not even in the book. Like, she wasn't in this story at all.
No.
And she's just like, yeah, and I'm here too, because you remember that show that everybody likes? And then the last page is a big friggin' commercial for the next couple of books that are coming out.
Yep.
New Justice.
Yeah, look, this is like a real, like, popcorn.
Yeah, it was fun. I enjoyed it, actually. It was not bad.
Yeah, it was, but like...
If it weren't for all the Marvel rip-off stuff, I would have loved it.
But like, it's one of those stories for me where you start tugging on threads.
Oh, it doesn't work.
It's just kind of, it might unravel on you.
Mm-hmm.
But...
Because there's no time. There's no time for anybody to think about anything or do anything in character, so
if you treat it just like, this sort of like... It's almost like a stopgap, but it's also like, just like a summer blockbuster kind of thing. It's
weird. It's going to be totally forgotten in like less than a year.
Probably.
It'll be in trade, and you're going to read it and go like, when did this take place? What is this for?
Yeah.
What happened here? Trees? What?
Trees. And the trees are still there.
They should just call it Justice League Trees.
You never see the forest through the trees.
They never do.
So there you go. It's No Justice.
Do you recommend it?
This issue?
Yeah.
No, it'd be very confusing for a lot of people.
I think it's fine.
It's
But like, I would get it in trade for a way reduced rate.
Definitely at this point, if this hasn't interested you at all,
you don't need it.
You don't need it.
It's a commercial for the next thing.
If you're just excited about having very specific people being on a Justice League team that's influenced by a cartoon show that a lot of us love,
but even then,
go grab that instead.
Right, but we don't even get like we don't even get a lot of fun character interactions. Like there's a few, but they're not nearly as much as we wanted.
Man, would Smokey the Bear be on Justice League Trees?
I guess.
Yeah.
Depends on who licenses him. They have Yogi Bear.
Why
no, he's Hanna-Barbera. Yeah, they have Yogi Bear. He's like Smokey Bear.
No,
because he's a bear.
No.
Anyway, let's move on.
Yeah, what's next?
I guess we could talk about Doomsday Clock.
Okay.
Doomsday Clock number 5 came out after some delays.
Yeah.
And it's finally here. And let me tell you something just about in regards to Doomsday Clock, the excitement, the enthusiasm, the fanfare, the like just unprecedented amount of attention and joy and like extreme reaction from it has completely died away from not just me but from a significant portion of the comic book reading audience. The delays really killed it. The snail's pace this series has been taking has been really not helping. The fact that we're at issue 5 out of 12 and this book is going to be delayed at least 3 more times and it is hamstringing everything means that this book can only continue to be, and will only further be, a lead weight around the progress of the DC Universe. Get ready for more Justice League No Justice books because of Doomsday Clock. I like Doomsday Clock.
Yeah.
I've enjoyed reading it, although I do find it incredibly boring now. But I will say this. No Justice is a response to Doomsday Clock's snail's pace. And Snyder, Tynion, Williamson, no stranger to and no fear of banging out a quick event that has some cool characters and some big flashy moments in it. And people buy them, and so DC's like, keep doing that until we freaking finish this freaking book.
Yeah. You know what's interesting about this? I thought I was really far behind.
Right.
And then I realized I hadn't read 4.
That's it.
And I was like, oh, but like, it's been so long, I had to go back and refresh my memory as to what happened in the other 3.
Literally, you have to reread all 4 of them.
And like, but when I read 4 and 5 back to back, it was way better.
Yes, I could see that happening. I did not do that. I just read 5.
Right? Because like, I was like, oh, I got to catch up so we can talk about this. So let me read 4. First, let me refresh my memory, because I was like, I must be really far behind, so I went back to 2.
Right.
And I was like, no, I read this.
No, this is very much,
okay, so then I went to 3, and I was like, I read that too. And then I got to 4, and I was like, okay, here we go.
Yep.
Read that, went right into 5, and I was like, that was nice.
Yeah.
Like, that was good.
Yeah. Well,
it's not very, like...
It's not rapid fire, it's not going fast.
But like,
what it does well.
It does do well.
By the way, Doomsday Clock number 5, written, of course, by Jeff Johns, art by Gary Frank. Farewell, Batman, Earth 1, Volume 3. We hardly knew you. Because it's Jeff Johns and Gary Frank, and we're never going to see that freaking book because of this goddamn
Maybe,
series.
I don't know. Because who knows? When this wraps up, people could be like...
Oh, no, when it wraps up, then Gary Frank's got to finish Volume 3. But I'm just saying, like, when this wraps up, I will be in retirement age.
I don't think that's true.
In any event, but okay, so let's just jump into Doomsday Clock unfettered without any bias. So here we go.
What's going on?
We're pushing the Legion. We're pushing the Justice Society.
Yes.
The Legion of Superheroes.
Yes.
And maybe a little Batman.
Yes.
Rorschach was sprung by Saturn Girl, and they're going on their own little mission to find Dr. Manhattan.
Yeah, but they have a quick stopover.
But they do have a quick stopover. Batman finally confronts Ozymandias in one of the coolest sequences so far.
Yeah.
People thought that like the Rorschach Batman stuff was cool. This was very cool.
Yeah, I mean, like I think this book has made it very obvious that the 1-to-1 ratio here is not Batman to Rorschach, it's Batman
Ozymandias. I hope so.
At least in this moment in Batman's life,
yes,
in which he is hailed as a villain, much like Ozymandias was. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
they're very much trying desperately to make those connections happen.
Right.
Even though for a lot of us, like, the Rorschach Batman thing is more interesting because Rorschach's the side
of Batman that's like obsessive and insane.
Yeah, and that like Batman never wants to be, but he doesn't know that.
Yes. Yeah, like it makes me wonder, like, did Batman lock up Rorschach because he thought he was crazy, or because he knew he was crazy and still believed his story? And by the time when he meets Ozymandias, he's like, it's all true. Like, if there was any doubt, he's definitely on the same page.
Yeah. I think it was just more or less, he was like, I can't have this lunatic running around.
Absolutely.
Right
No, he's like, okay, like, this book is indicating a much larger mystery, and I've got this guy, and the book written by the original Rorschach is some messed up stuff.
Yeah.
So you are going away until I can figure out what to do with you. But yeah, so we've also got the comedian, of course, plucked from between moments, from between life and death.
Yes.
And he's running around the DC universe.
He's running around in Gotham?
Yes.
Yeah, I think they're in Metropolis. No,
is
they're
he
in Gotham?
I think it's all in Gotham. I know Superman's in the book as well for like a few seconds.
Yeah, because I thought Ozymandias went to Luthor, and that's where
he did, and then,
was originally.
That's right, and then Luthor went to the hospital. He gets out soon. It's
questionable where it is. Everything's very dark in this universe, regardless of where you are.
Yeah,
like,
it's hard to tell.
The comedian's just kind of like doing his own thing, and it's kind of random to me. Like, I'm not sure what his purpose is.
John brought him back. Dr. Manhattan brings him back for reasons that are only known to him.
Right, but
he was trying to kill Lex Luthor. That's all we know, is that like the comedian was sent probably by Dr. Manhattan to kill Lex Luthor. Why, I don't know.
It's a little perplexing.
But I'm looking forward to finding out, because there's no way that they did that.
Yeah.
By accident.
Right. We also, I can't remember if this wasn't in this issue, because now I got 4 and 5 mixed up, but the fact that we get the reveal in one of the 2 issues that it's not just Rorschach and Dr. Manhattan that are gone. I mean, granted, Rorschach's dead, but we know that.
Yes.
But that also Night Owl and Silk Spectre are missing as well.
Right,
just straight up missing. Anyone who's involved in that Arctic thing.
Yes. Yeah, in the
Gone.
reveal. Yeah, exactly.
Which I thought was kind of cool, because we know what happened to one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Did the other two just go off and be like, we'll just be quiet?
Right.
But because, like, at the end of Watchmen...
It doesn't... Yeah, well, it looks like they are. Well, it looks like they're complacent in what happened.
Right, but, like, people know where they are still.
Yeah,
and now Sally Jupiter's gone.
Right. I mean, like,
so, like,
there's no way they're not going to be in this book.
Right, but I'm just saying, like, Laurie's ties to, like, regular society is kind of gone, too,
Yeah, that's true.
So, like, who knows where they ended up.
Yeah.
We get a lot of Marionette and Mime desperately trying to find the Joker.
Right, because we think that the Joker is their son.
I've heard that, definitely. They're insulted that...
Oh, that they're not allowed to operate in makeup because the Joker has outlawed it? Because nobody may, operate...
Exactly.
In his MO.
Right? We know that the Joker and also just polite society in general, or like people in general, want the bat signal gone.
Yeah.
And like it's almost like the Joker's just like, yeah!
Right. I don't know if I like that version.
Awesome! These are my people now.
Right, exactly.
These are my people.
Yeah.
It's fine.
We also have a big political story where
a huge political story, which is very much like, I don't know if it's successfully doing it, you can let me know if you think it's successfully doing it, trying to like mirror Watchmen's nuclear issues with Russia.
Yeah, big time.
And so
we're doing that, but with the DC equivalent.
Yeah, and it's superpowers.
Yes.
With Russia.
Mm-hmm. So we find out that like there's because the idea is that the implication furthered by Lex Luthor, although Luthor in this book denies that he has any like direct involvement in the perpetuation of this theory, but the idea is that like superheroes were created by the US government as a deterrent against like foreign threats and like domestic threats as well, and so superhumans were created by the US government, and that like that's why there's so many superheroes in the US, as opposed to the idea that like superhero comic books were created in the United States.
Right. By the way, I think we have no fear of anything that's happening in Bendis's Man of Steel right now, because Lois is clearly working at the planet. And
John is also in the book.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that takes place, hopefully, after Man of Steel.
In theory, like...
I guess that's a good point.
We're being told that, like, most things have to lead to that, correct?
Yes.
So, question mark on that. We'll see.
The fact is, Bendis is, like... so much is tied on Bendis working there.
That they might be like, no, never mind.
Yes.
Who cares?
That this thing that means something to John's and to DC's whole mantra and, like, and next 2 years' worth of books... could be disrupted just because Bendis doesn't want it.
By the way, the Joker being their son is not necessarily our theory. We have heard that.
We have heard that. Oh, I think that's what it is. I think that's what they're trying to indicate. Because, Marionette and Mime were pregnant.
Yeah.
Dr. Manhattan refused to kill them like he would normally because she was pregnant.
Yeah.
And then when they... and they're roped into Ozymandias' scheme to escape their reality to come here because he promises to tell them where their child is.
Yeah.
They're both clown-themed villains who are also, like, kind of Watchmen allegories for Captain Atom villains.
Yeah.
And... so the implication is because there's 3 Jokers and Jeff Johns created the idea that there were 3 Jokers in the first place, that one of the Jokers might be their kid because they're clown people. He's a clown person. They're looking for their kid. When they first set foot on the DC Universe soil, they do so in the freaking circus grounds where the Killing Joke took place.
Right.
Or at least where we are meant to think the Killing Joke took place. It would be really annoying and frustrating if it's not the Killing Joke circus, if they have the same freaking talking clown and all the imagery thereof, just to invoke that image and that idea, but they're definitely not the same thing. That would suck.
Hey, can I, what do you call a theory that's like so out of left field and it's just put out there just to make people upset?
I think that's called trolling.
Okay. What if Johns decides to try to lead you down that path and he's like, no, they had a baby and I put that baby on Earth and that baby's actually Clark Kent.
Right. That would be...
And then I created a whole world around it.
Yeah, that would be really annoying.
I created Krypton and all that.
Yeah.
Just
or it's Batman.
No. None of these, no, don't listen to any of these. These are all bad.
These are all bad.
It's bad.
I will, yes.
That's bad.
But Lois Lane, obviously, because she's married to one of these accused, problems.
Metahumans.
she goes to Luthor to get to the bottom of it, and Superman returns it up where he like spies on them using his X-ray vision and superheroing.
Yeah.
But that's the first time we see Superman in the friggin' book, as opposed to like when when he's in costume and everything. And he's spying on his wife. But so anyway, also of course poor Johnny Thunder escapes from his nursing home. His nursing home.
Yeah.
And
it's just like, so like
it's really sad. And it's really sad and it's really frustrating because the DC universe is like not supposed to be miserable like the Alan Moore Watchmen universe.
Right.
So to implicate to suggest that there are people within the city limits of like Keystone City or any place.
I think he's in Gotham because he goes past Arkham.
Oh, that's right.
At one point, so he is in a place that's
so he's in a bad place.
Great.
But like these people were gonna beat this poor old man to death.
I know.
But anyway, the cool part is that he because he's looking for his genie.
Yeah, he's looking for the lamp.
And which I think is fun, and I'm like, okay, I don't, because this book is so sad and miserable and dour, like I'm expecting him to just die and not find anything, or to find a lamp and rub it and nothing happens.
Oh no, he light up there. I know exactly what he's looking for. I just didn't think he was gonna find it.
Right, and he doesn't. But what he does find instead is Alan Scott's freaking lantern.
No, that's what he was looking for. He said, "I'm looking for my friend Alan's lamp."
Oh, that's what it was. I'm sorry.
He he took the allegory of Aladdin and the lamp and turned it into Alan Scott and the lantern.
Right.
And so that's his quest now.
Yes.
Is to get that. I enjoy that. I just was like, he's not gonna find it.
Right.
Because he's decrepit.
Because it's sad.
And they keep saying how old he is, and people keep trying to beat him up.
I know.
And then he does, and I'm like, sad. Thank you.
But then he gets it. And you're like, hey, kinda. Yeah. He almost gets it.
Well,
they're going to beat him to death with it first.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter because Saturn Girl and Rorschach show up.
Yep.
And Rorschach kills those guys.
Yes.
Just kills the hell out of them.
Yep.
And, it's interesting because, we have this whole allegory of, the moth to the flame.
Yes. And, of course, his, who was it? It was Rorschach's friend in the asylum.
Yes.
Who was
Mothman?
No, I thought it was it's another name that's it's like Moth. It might be Mothman. I can't remember.
Something? Yeah, and the previous issue.
Yes.
Where he he would go out and fly and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So
and then he's drawn to the burning building.
Yes.
And he dies. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a big thing about that, and in fact when he's holding it, there's a bug that's flying around.
It's a moth that goes to the lamp. So
I thought it was a mosquito, which I thought was funny because that would be, of course, the Gotham thing.
Right.
The Gotham version of it.
Yeah, the idea of a flying insect is definitely something that that's parasitic.
Yeah, it can't just be a regular nice bug.
Yeah, but it is Mothman, by the way.
Oh, okay, good. I thought it was.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's this issue has a little more going on. We're almost halfway through it. We're clearly coming up.
We're getting to some kind of
slowest roller coaster ever.
It really is.
And part of it's you're kind of getting done with it. But after this issue, I'm like, okay.
I think they felt people's apprehension with this series, and so they needed a big moment or something.
Right.
They needed to pay off any of the things that they are suggesting or implying over the last 4 issues, like the Joker.
Yes.
In the whole last issue, which was, by the way, beautiful and very well executed.
Yeah.
Just Marionette Mime looking for the Joker was great.
Yeah.
If they don't find the Joker now, which they don't.
No, they did.
Oh, do they? That's right. They find him.
Because they go on to the top of. All right, so the sequence kind of goes. Ozymandias and Batman have their whole conversation within the new Archie 2 or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Is it 3? I don't know. It doesn't matter. And in doing so, Ozymandias is going to attack the police.
Yes, and Batman doesn't want that.
Batman says nay to that.
But there's also a mob that wants to see the bat signal torn down.
Yeah, and they also
They also see the flying
streets,
ship, so they're
they got cops.
Yeah, they got helicopters chasing after
there are
them.
Cops who are also on the roof, and Gordon's among them.
Yes.
And in the scuffle, the ship turns, and Batman falls out of it.
And he's beaten.
Well, he almost falls into the mob.
Yes.
And he kind of catches himself. But then, on the roof of the building, Marionette and Mime run into Joker for the first time, and they're kind of having a back and forth where he's just like, you guys have been causing me a whole lot of trouble. And they're like, we've wanted to meet you.
Exactly.
And then one of his goons is like, hey, boss, if you could just
downstairs.
come over here. He's like, dude, I'm like...
Yeah, I'm in the middle of...
And they're like, but you got to see this. And it's Batman?
Yeah.
Batman. I'm going to
put you
Batman
don't think it's Batman? You think Batman got away?
I don't know.
And you think that the
Batman.
dude who the crowd beat up?
I don't know. That's what I'm saying.
That'd be cool.
I just put Batman in quotes because I don't know. Is there. So we get that, like, there's a lot of, like, I don't know if it's payoff, but it's a lot of, like, okay, now Marion and Mime have met the Joker.
Right.
They potentially have Batman and Johnny Thunder and
has
Rorschach have the Lantern.
Yes.
What is that going to do?
Right.
Because he says it's going to release his friends. As though, like, they're in the power battery.
Right.
Which is like, cool. Are you going to not be old anymore?
He has to be unolded. But yeah, we got a lot of big moments and some payoff in this issue. So it's finally things are turning around, I think. I hope so.
It's funny because, like, the series so far has put a lot of emphasis on Rorschach.
Yes.
And
this new character that they created.
Well, I'm saying, like, the new Rorschach.
Yeah,
like,
I know.
They've put a lot of emphasis on us understanding his mind space.
Yes.
And, like, I really appreciated finding out whether or not I like the fact that he's, like, the son.
The psychiatrist son?
Yeah. I don't know yet. I can't figure out if I'm like, that's convenient or what. But that's how he got access.
Right.
Because I'm like, how else did you get that book?
Yeah.
Like,
well, you get the book from the conservative newspaper that he mailed it to.
Right, but like how? Like,
they printed it. That's how the whole thing falls apart.
Right. But he has the actual book. Like, why would he? Like,
right. Well, he followed the breadcrumbs.
But that would have. Yeah, I mean, like, I know he has the book, but I meant, like, originally without the draw of the psychologist's father, like, what would have brought him to that point.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
So, like, I appreciate, like, where they've
setting
constructed this whole thing. And, like, the concept of, like, how horrific it was to be at, like...
Ground Zero.
For this alien attack. And, like, what it did to people.
Right,
and,
right.
like, the world it created around that. And I was like, that's kind of cool. And, like, gives you an interesting perspective on, like, Arkham.
Right.
Because, like, he's almost in Arkham
he's
for
in
them, in a way. Or they're
exactly.
going to create an Arkham because they're gathering all of them. So I thought that was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Whether or not that's anything more than just John's, like, indulging himself, I don't know.
I don't know.
I can't tell what's indulgence and what's, like, actual stories at this point.
It's really going to take, like, effort to, like, when it's done, to pour through it and really get into the nitty-gritty.
Right? But, like, regardless of its importance, I enjoyed I thought it's well done.
Yeah.
Like, it's, like...
Yeah, it's not... This is not hackneyed. It's not stupid. It's not, like, a show. You know, they're not trying to make a big spectacle out of nothing. It is a legitimate book.
Yeah, no, I agree.
And it shouldn't be dismissed. I've said it's boring, and yeah, it is a little bit. Especially at the snail's pace. I think if I was reading it all at once, I definitely wouldn't feel this way.
I think it's stronger to be able to put it, like, cohesively.
Exactly. And there's a lot more, by the way. I don't want to give away the whole thing. Because I do recommend it. Despite the fact that it is, like, a slog.
And there's a lot of subtleties to it. And, like, honestly, though, like, if you're grabbing it now, you definitely should go back and grab the others.
Yeah.
Because it does build on itself.
Right.
So.
Yeah. So, jumping right into... so you recommend Doomsday Clock?
Oh, yeah.
I'm not wild about the cover.
I liked it.
Because we saw the image of Ozymandias' X-ray the entire time. I was kind of like, eh. But then we got the other cover, which is the variant of Joker getting, like, putting on the makeup, and I was like, yes.
Well, he's putting on the Vite stuff.
Yeah.
Like,
he's got the
Vite compact.
Yeah.
I like the simplicity of the X-ray. It's striking in a comic book store.
That's true.
You know what I mean?
No, that's true.
It's very, like,
they're thinking about it. And that's good. That's cool.
Yeah.
That's the thing I haven't seen in a comic book store because I haven't been in one in a couple of weeks. But, man, so, okay. I read Amazing Spider-Man number 800, which is written by Dan Slott. It's the penultimate issue of Dan Slott's run. I think he has 801 to do, and then he's off. And it's drawn by a whole mess of people, all of whom have worked with Dan Slott for the last, like, 200 issues that he's been on the book, or however many. A lot. He did 6, 7, 8, 800. So 300 plus issues.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Dan Slott's done. It's like we're almost done with Dan Slott on the book. I've praised his work. I have decried his work, which, you know, is the mark of a, like, storied storyteller, a person who is capable of many different things, both good and ill. And, you know, this book was $10, and it was, like, and it was a lot of book, though. It was a lot of book. And I actually bought 2 copies, because I bought it on digital, so I didn't get spoiled, and then I bought it in physical, because I thought we were going to do it on one of the shows. I have it, I just didn't put it on the table. It's over there.
Okay.
It doesn't matter. The point is, like, ultimately, my thoughts on this series or on this book, you can't talk about the book as on its own. You have to talk about it in the greater context of Dan Slott working on this story. The story of Peter Parker for the last, like, 10 years. And ultimately, I can't say that I agree with Slott's approach to the Peter Parker character.
Okay.
Ultimately, I can say that he won me over during his run. When he first was on the book during Brand New Day, and he was one of many writers, he was definitely the standout. Out of the writers they had in the pool working on those Brand New Day books, he definitely, and that included some mainstays, some long-standing people. Roger Stern wrote some books. Bob Gale wrote Back to the Future, and some Spider-Man stuff. Dan Slott's stuff kind of rose to the top.
Right.
And maybe it was almost like a ridiculous, expensive audition process to figure out who should take over for Spider-Man afterwards. But Slott's stuff is undeniably was really interesting, and you could tell that he had an affinity and a deep understanding of the character.
Okay.
So, I was willing to give him the benefit of the doubt, and then I read New Ways to Die, and I hated it. I really did. I was like, this is not great. And it was, of course, John Romita Jr. drawing it, and he had just finished. He had left the JMS series, and then Deodato Jr. took over, and a number of other artists filled in for him, but no one ever really matched the JMS John Romita Jr. stuff for me. And to see him come back to this book with another writer, but no one was quite the same.
Right.
Romita Jr. just didn't live up to the work that he was able to do back during the JMS era, and Dan Slott was not able to live up to the JMS stuff that I enjoyed, and would ultimately was the last writer on the book before I quit for a while.
Okay. But
I read New Ways to Die, didn't care for it, dropped the book, and left it alone after Brand New Day for a long time until Big Time. Read Big Time, and I was like, this is really good. It pays homage to the character. It approaches the character from a unique perspective, and it also delivers on the promise of the character that and the potential that's never been realized. We've never seen Peter Parker, except during the Clone Saga, of him being a scientist and actually doing things. We've never seen him actually make good. Local boy does good or makes good. We never see that moment where Peter Parker actually gets a break and things work out for him. I think that's why a lot of people like that run so much, why I liked it so much.
Right.
Because it's one of the few times where things consistently work out for Spider-Man. And Dan Slott's approach was, I think, from the perspective of hey, listen, Spider-Man should know everything. He should be leading the Avengers. He should be in charge of all this shit because he's been doing it almost the longest, and he's fought literally everybody, and he's a super scientist, and he has access to all this technology, and he knows everybody in the superhero community, and he has all these favors owed to him. He should run shit.
Right.
And seeing that actually kind of all the dominoes falling in his favor really, really resonated with me. And it all culminates in Spider Island, and it all kind of really crystallizes to this one point of this is really cool. And it really is the culmination point for a lifetime of being shit on. And then it just goes in another direction. And it goes in that direction for the rest of his run.
Right.
And Amazing Spider-Man number 800 is the culmination of Dan Slott's kind of approach to the character, which apparently recently he just tweeted or Facebooked or posted a thing where he said, okay, Peter Parker fails. That's who he is. Life craps on him. Peter Parker must suffer. That's who that character is. His character is suffering. If he's not suffering, you're not writing Peter Parker. Which is not correct.
No.
And it's not even not correct. I shouldn't say that because that's kind of that's a one-dimensional way of saying it. That's like saying that's like saying art isn't subjective.
Right. That's just not all that he is.
That's not all he is, and that ain't my Spider-Man. And it wasn't your Spider-Man when you were writing him for this 2 or 3 year window, dude. Suffering is not a character trait.
No.
And it is not a plot device. And having that approach to the character, I think, prevented him from being able to tell greater stories. Amazing Spider-Man 800 had a lot of different artists on it, and they all bring as much of their A game as they can. Humberto Ramos did not do his top work.
Okay.
Camuncoli did probably the best he could do, but I hate his work. Marcos Martin does what he does, and it's great. John Romita Jr. tries his best, and I'm forgetting a couple others, but you know what? The book is... Oh, and Stuart Immonen is regrettably apparently retiring from comics after this.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Which is a damn shame because he's so great. And ultimately, spoilers for the book. I don't want to ruin it for you. So but there is a big significant cataclysmic death, which one could see coming from a mile away because no one had any plans or ideas about what to do with this character. Okay. And, it was not... He thought it was a big mic drop, and it wasn't.
Okay.
It was just, it felt like it was a lot of box ticking, and it felt like it was kind of like just filling in all the boxes. You could tell it was written by a weary author. Somebody who was just like, someone's just so tired of being told he sucks and that he's bad at this and he doesn't know what he does. That's how it felt. It felt like a weary book that was written by a weary author who just wanted to go out on top one last time. Because it does ultimately like end in a nice way, and there is a really, really beautiful. And that's the thing, Dan Slott is not a bad writer, so like there are some beautiful moments.
Right.
It's a great moment with Mary Jane and Peter Parker in a graveyard, and it's or a cemetery, and it's great, and it's beautifully done, and it's very well executed, and you know, so it has a couple of great moments.
Okay.
Of good moments that aspire for greatness. The book aspires for greatness and ultimately falls short. That's what I can say about it.
Okay. Is 80 pages for $10 of this worth it to you?
No, absolutely not. If you don't like his run on Spider-Man, you're not going to like this.
Right.
If you like anything that has Spider-Man in it, you're going to love this. Because it's a celebration of Spider-Man. Look at all these great stories and these great characters and these great artists, and he gets the Venom symbiote for a few minutes, and like and because it'd be boring to look at like the iconic classic costume that everybody always wants to see, let's do a new version of the Venom symbiote on Spider-Man. One we've never seen before that looks really weird. And because Humberto Ramos' art is kind of like interpretive, it's kind of hard to tell whether like there are moments in the aspects of the costume that are either like Humberto Ramos-isms or that's what the costume's doing, like his eyes like bug out of the head, and you're like, is that on purpose, or is that like, is that like real? Is that happening? And it just ultimately doesn't work. Like I just don't think it works.
All right.
It's too bad because like I don't read a book to go like, this is gonna suck. Here we go.
Right.
Unless it's Force Works or something. But like when it comes to this, I was like, you know what? I've loved his work. I loved Spider Island. I enjoyed the Ends of the Earth. I enjoyed Superior Spider-Man. Ultimately, I think I can't say that I've liked more of his work than I have not liked it, because he's written over 300 issues of this series.
Yeah, that percentage probably is not.
I feel bad because I wish he had left the book like 4 years ago so that he could have had a time to work on other books and then come back to it.
Right, and he also would have left, like, maybe he would have had one dud, but it would have been overall, like, positive.
Yes.
And
but
then people would be like, man, remember the slot run? Instead of people now being like...
He needs to leave the book.
It's difficult to recommend him, I think, to people who haven't read Spider-Man before, because it's just like...
Well, it's been his thing for the last
And it's also
10 years.
like, read that, but you can ignore that, but then like, and then, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
no, it's hard. And I feel bad because he's such a genuine, nice person, and he really does, like, try. And like I said, like, he's a legitimately good author. Mm-hmm. And I feel bad for him because I know how much he loves the character, and I wish he had left, not because I hate him and wish he didn't make money. It's more because I wish that he could have had the opportunity to return to the character again. But after this, I don't think there's ever going to be a time when he's going to be welcome back on this book.
No, I agree.
And that's the ultimate shame and sadness of
the only time you
Spider-Man
might
book.
see him is if they do like an annual or something where they like let him write a little mini story,
or if he does an event, because like Bendis is gone, so like Dan Slott might be, he's gonna run Fantastic Four, and like he might do like one of the next Marvel events,
right?
And Spider-Man might play a significant role, or maybe he'll be so resentful of all the negative press and all the negative attention he's gotten from Spider-Man fans that he'll make Spider-Man look like a friggin' idiot.
He might,
because like that was my real dread, was his weariness from the fan reaction, because like if you're a professional, you can pretty much tone out or like tune out a lot of that negativity.
Yeah.
But if you are bombarded by it on a regular basis, and if you delete your Twitter account more than as many times as he had, like, no, you're hearing that shit.
Yeah.
And it's getting to you.
Yeah.
And so like I feel bad.
Right.
And I wish he could leave the book under better circumstances.
Right. And hopefully the publishers learn from this and like don't let creators stay on a book for that long.
Right.
If it's not working.
If it's not working.
If it's not working, it's not working. Like, that doesn't mean they don't work for you anymore. You could just put them on something else.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, you know, it could be that like Cebulski might have been like, Dan, you got to leave the book for a little while. Go do that Fantastic Four. Like, we're bringing them back. Please just don't go to DC, but like leave Spider-Man for a little while.
Yeah.
But it's a bittersweet book. It's got a lot of, like I said, it's actually a great encapsulation of his run. because it has a lot of it has peaks and valleys. There are some great moments, there are some really stupid moments. And when I say stupid, I mean like self-indulgent or like weird. There's some like resentful moments you could tell he put there because he's like, fuck you to like the reader. And there's a couple moments where he's like, but I also love Spider-Man and I don't want to read this book and be mad at myself.
Right.
So like there are a couple moments that are here for him.
Okay.
Or for us, hopefully.
Okay.
And so, you know, that was a long way of saying that the book is like a C+. And, you know, so who knows?
All right.
Like, I'm looking forward to seeing what Nick Spencer has to offer, but if the Free Comic Book Day issue is any indication, I am not looking forward to it.
Oh.
It's just woof. But we'll talk about that when that book comes out.
Okay.
I mean, there was a full Free Comic Book Day issue. Everybody's very excited about it. Nick Spencer wrote Superior Foes of Spider-Man, and he did a great job. You know this because he is using all of his characters from Superior Foes and putting them into his book. And Ryan Ottley is off Invincible because that book has ended, and Ryan Ottley's doing the art. And I wish Ryan Ottley had been brought on this book about 10 years ago, because then he might have been able to pull it off. Ooh. Anyway, so yeah, that's we got one more book, I think.
If you want to.
I guess we could really quick just talk about this title because it deserves to be talked about, and I really want to sell it. Yeah,
go for it, because like I've only read one issue of it, and I think it was the end of this arc, and it was awesome.
Right. Marvel 2-in-1. Marvel 2-in-1 number 6 came out last week. It's great. It is quintessentially Marvel. It is everything. It was all the popcorn fun of Jonathan Hickman's Fantastic Four run.
Yeah.
But without any of like the subtext and bullshit. Like, listen, nobody doesn't love Jonathan Hickman's run on Fantastic Four, unless you're bored easily. But damn, and I thought I didn't like Chip Zdarsky.
I know you did, but I was like,
because of his friggin' Howard the Duck and his approach to the Spider-Man character.
I know, but like I was like, he knows what he's doing.
He does.
He
can pull it off.
He can pull it off with whatever he decides he wants to tell, and it could just be he didn't like the story he had to tell.
I mean, he just thinks Spider-Man's a dorky character.
He could. But this, like, I know right before we went on, you're like, you should read this at some point. I was like, I'll read this issue, and then I realized I was like, oh, I'm reading the end of the arc. Yeah. But I was like, I would still go back and read the rest of this because it was just really fun.
Yes. But not really dumb fun. Either.
No.
I would liken it to, if you've ever read Jason Aaron's The Astonishing Spider-Man and Wolverine, is just like that. Only shorter. And there's less like, no, it's just really great.
Right? It's also like
unfortunately it doesn't have the same artist on the whole book. Jim Chung draws issues 1 and 6. Maybe he does 2, I don't remember, but like then he leaves. But like but he does wrap up with issue 6.
It's great. I was gonna say this reminds me of any sort of like high stakes movie where like the plan's finally coming together.
Yes.
And it's like that incredible feeling of payoff. And again, I didn't read the other issues, and I still felt like,
yeah, we did it.
I was like,
that's the best.
And me too. Hey guys,
yeah, this
is great.
That is the mark of an inclusionary story. Whether it's for me, like I didn't watch the Star Trek original series.
Yeah,
I was a TNG guy, and much later in life. But I still, like, when I saw Star Trek 4, I'm like, yeah, we're all having a good time, right, gang? Oh, Scotty, you Scotsman? Is that who you are? Scotty? That's pretty on the nose, isn't it? But I still, like, and then I go back and I enjoy all the other, like, I have a real, like, soft spot. Like, that moment in Star Trek Beyond, when Spock opens up the picture and it's the crew, I'm like, oh, the crew, because like I saw 6 movies with those guys, and like, but I didn't watch that show,
right?
So it makes me a huge hypocrite, but it makes me feel like, oh, and that's what this book is. You're just like, you can read any issue, and be like, this is fun, this is cool, I'm having a good time, and by the way, so the series is just Johnny Storm's sad because and he's directionless, and his powers are waning, and Reed and Sue and the kids are off creating universes, but they don't know that. The team doesn't know that. Ben was on the Guardians and trying desperately to stay afloat because somebody at Marvel Editorial was telling them they can't make Fantastic Four books anymore, but they can still use the Thing. So, but in the context of the story, the Thing is like a little bit more rock solid than Human Torch, and so he decides because he gets like a living will from Reed that says like take care of Johnny and he's gonna be sad. And Johnny takes, and so Ben basically takes like this dimension hopping device from Reed's stuff with Johnny, and he's like, they're actually alive, and we're gonna go find them. And he's lying to Johnny the entire time about looking for them to try and trick Johnny into being like a Fantastic Four member again.
Right.
And so it's just great, and And so what they do is they wind up in like an alternate dimension where like Reed and Sue are alive, but Ben is dead.
Yeah.
And Dr. Doom absorbs the energy of Galactus, and then he becomes Galactus, and then he eats everything except for Earth, but then he comes back to eat Earth. And so the Fantastic Four and the remaining members of like the Marvel Universe have to like band together to save the universe. And it's freaking awesome and fun.
Is. And I gotta tell you, like, if you just pick this up because you're like, whatever, who cares? And like me.
Yeah, you could be like, right, okay, so Dr. Doom's Galactus, I'm in.
Yeah, I was just like, they did such a good job without like explaining to me what was happening.
Yeah.
It's like, you see him, and then you see his heralds or Doombots.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, he's Galactus. Nailed it. Got it. All right, cool.
Yeah, he's got Silver Surfer Doombots.
Anything that's happening, you can piece together. Like, Emma Frost is in this, but they don't call her Emma Frost. They just call her Emma, and she looks totally different because she has clothes on.
And she's banging the Silver Surfer, but the Silver Surfer because they killed Galactus, his tether was removed, and he doesn't have the power cosmic.
But like Doom in him talking to her,
yes,
I was like, oh, it's Emma Frost.
Right.
Cool. I'm in.
Yeah.
Got it. Like. It just all comes together in a way where it makes you feel more clever than you are.
Yeah.
Because I'm piecing it together, even though I haven't been reading. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, but we've only been in this universe for like 2 issues, so you're not far off.
But I don't know that. And I gotta tell you, that moment where they like reveal the big part of their plan.
Yes. Oh my god. Great, delightful, and completely worth it. But what's funny is it's not even all about this. It's not always highfalutin cosmic stuff. There's also a story. There's an issue that I was like, this is a perfect issue. It was just a story. It was a flashback about Ben and Reed when they were in school playing a prank on Victor.
That's cute.
So good.
That's really cute. I like that a lot. Are they pulling a Johnny's powers are waning because he's sad?
No, I think they're saying because Ben's powers are waning too.
Okay.
I think what they're going to set up is the idea that like the four have to be together.
Oh.
In order to like power each other.
Like Quantum and Woody?
Yeah.
Clang.
You're never going to see my Quantum and Woody book, by the way.
No, it was our Quantum and Woody book. It was pretty good.
It was pretty fun.
It was pretty wizard.
That was my request out of my friendship with the Valiant guys. Yeah. I want to do some Quantum and Woody. And they were like, okay.
And we had a pretty good
pitch.
Yeah. But like overall, I enjoyed this issue a lot. I liked the like sort of growth of Doom? Of one version of Doom.
Yes.
I thought that was pretty like amazing.
Yeah. And 616 Doom comes with them as Iron Man, as the infamous Iron Man.
Okay.
So like you get a bunch of cool stuff. It's cool.
Yeah, and like the book's really beautiful. It's like really lovely to look at.
Yes.
I really like just had a nice time.
Yeah. If you've never read Fantastic Four, you might want to pick up the Marvel 2-in-1 series because A, it's 6 issues, B, it only requires you to know 2 characters, and C, it gives you that feeling of what the Fantastic Four should give you without it feeling too complicated.
Right.
And without you having to delve into a lot of minutia. But it's good. I think people would dig it. And I think they should because I think this book deserves to be one of the top sellers. I don't think it is, but I think it will. I think it should be, and I hope it survives in trade. And Fantastic Four's picking up after this, so like who knows? Like,
right?
I don't think the book's going to survive. But I'm sad to hear that Chip Zdarsky will not be writing Fantastic Four now.
Yeah, right.
It's just too good. He nailed it in the first try. First issue, I was like, all right, well, let's see how this is. I think I said it off the rack. I'm like, I'm going to read it, so I guess I will. And then I'm like, oh, it's great. And then I remember calling Rob, and I was like, Rob, you got to read it. He's like, no, I'm not reading that half Fantastic Four bullshit. And I'm like, you got to read it. And he did. And he was like, oh, did you know it was great? I'm like, I told you it was great, you friggin' jackass. But
well, that happened.
Yeah. We're friends, I can say that.
Yes, you can.
But yeah, so Marvel 2-in-1, a little Trojan Horse review for you.
A little extra.
Yeah, but check that out.
Yeah.
Check out all these books.
If you want to.
But it isn't off the rack without recommending a couple of titles for you, which we didn't really prepare, so I'm just going to look really quick at the solicitations. There are a couple of books that are coming out.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Doctor Strange is coming out. It's part of the Mark Waid run. He's in space. I don't know if I recommend it necessarily because I don't know. I'm going to read it and check it out. Strange has been kind of all over the place.
Yes, it has.
And I don't know if we're going to find a baseline anytime
you read the preview.
Soon. Yeah.
I felt like that was quintessential Doctor Strange. That was straight up Doctor Strange.
But like
Roger Stern era.
I get it, but like we haven't had, like, it's still totally different because we have to be in space.
Yes.
Like, you know what I mean? Like,
oh, yeah, no. That preview is amazing because it's like, hey, here's Doctor Strange, the way you remember him from 30 years ago. And then it's like, oh, but he's going to leave for space.
But now he's in space. Space Strange. And I'm sure I'm going to have a good time, and I'm sure I'm going to enjoy it. Like, I'm not saying I'm not going to read it. I'm just saying, like, wouldn't it be nice if we could just
set a baseline?
Just let it...
Have you read that last Donny Cates book?
No.
You got to read it.
I know I do.
The art's crazy.
I'm sure it is. I've got a lot of conflicting
opinions about the Donny Cates run.
Yeah.
I know we all can agree.
I like Donny Cates.
Yeah.
But I have a lot of conflicting feelings about that whole thing.
At least we can all agree
that
Dennis Hopeless sucks.
Yes. Definitely. And I don't think, and it's funny too, because I think Donny Cates kind of got like the short end of the stick as well, because he got pulled into the damnation thing, which I know he was part of.
Yeah, he
technically.
did. I think he wrote that. He
co-wrote
it, but he also, I think it was the brainchild of that.
Maybe, I don't know, because Nick Spencer was on it. So
yeah, that's true.
He's got his opinions.
Man, if Nick Spencer was the brainchild behind Damnation, then I have not some high hopes or expectations for Spider-Man either.
I don't know technically. I really don't. But everything was so tied in with that
yeah,
it's like he didn't get a fair shake necessarily.
Yeah.
You know, I know a lot of people really love that he put the genie back in the bottle where he's like Strange has his magic again.
Yes.
But I think Wade's is dealing with him not having magic.
No.
Or like it's like lessened.
I mean, I'm sure it's weakened or whatever. Look, if you look at the pages, it just looks like he's back to normal.
Yeah, I thought I read something about that somewhere. So anyway, what are you going to recommend?
Well, before I do that, I'll mention Silvery Cricket says, "Did you read the Lockjaw mini? It's actually pretty good. It also drops as to where Rhea and Sue are."
Oh.
I did not read the series, but I did take a look at a couple of pages, and I saw that there's this great sequence where Lockjaw is like bamfing to different places, and in one of them is the DC universe. I thought that was cute.
That's cute. I was going to say, of course Sal didn't. He doesn't like any humans.
No, I don't care for the Inhumans, so, you know, why would I do that?
Oh. But now knowing that it could be kind of fun.
I hear it actually is good, and I like that preview, so who knows. But I will say, Justice League #1 comes out next week, and I gotta buy it. If I'm ever gonna like a Justice League book, it's gonna be this. I like Justice League. But I like the cartoon more.
Yeah.
And the cartoon is the straight up brainchild for the series. Like it is the like Bible for the series.
Look, I'm excited Hawkgirl's back, and I'm excited Martian Manhunter's back.
Yep. And you know that they're gonna probably try to shoehorn a romance between Jon Stewart and Hawkgirl because you liked that in the cartoon.
I did like that.
Listen, everyone else did. No one else complained. And you know what? Who cares? Like they haven't done anything with Jon Stewart in a long time, and Hawkgirl just showed up. So yeah, let's make that happen.
Yeah.
But it looks good, and you know, Snyder with a team book, you know, it's a mixed bag. So I'm looking forward to finding out how it goes. I'm definitely gonna get it because it's like it's a huge landmark issue, and it might be a good like precedent setter for the future of DC post Rebirth because it's no longer Rebirth anymore. So we'll see what happens with that. But so those are your recommendations, folks. A couple of ideas. Not a huge list, but
no.
But hey, did you enjoy watching the Off the Rack series live? If so, we will continue to do that. If not, well, sorry, we'll just figure something else out, I guess. I don't know. But that was the show, and we'll see you guys next time with another episode of Off the Rack. We will hopefully be introducing more live shows in the future. So let us know in the comments what you want to see live, and we'll see if our plans line up because we have our own ideas as well.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to toss out there before we wrap up?
No.
Fair enough. I'll check us out everywhere where you can find social media stuff. You know what? We're live. Why not? We have an Instagram, instagram.com/ComicPOPofficial, and instagram.com/TheRealZoobs. Check them out. There's also links for the Discord in the chat below. There's also a Facebook group, which you can find in the description. Actually, the description has everything, so just go down there. Click all the links.
It's the place to be.
It is the place to be. There's a subreddit. I bet you didn't know that. Check them all out, and we'll see you guys next time with another episode of Off the Rack, or at least something else that we're doing here on the show. I am Sal.
And I'm Tiffany.
Thanks a lot for watching. We'll see you next time.
Bye, guys.
Oh, super chat. Nathan Berg just sold my Walking Dead #1, so giving you a little to you. Thanks, Nathan.
Oh, thanks, Nathan. That's really nice.
Later, buddy.